Hello everyone, this is a video showing how we constructed an entrance rock garden to my house. This project was started in late 2019. Rome wasn't built in a day. We're hoping that you find at least some of our DIY skills interesting. If you do, please like and subscribe, and of course, thanks for watching. The driveway entrance to the house the way it used to be. Modest and tidy in some respects. I should have kept it this way. Life would be simpler and I'd have more money in the bank. But anyway, onwards and upwards, and it keeps me out of trouble. Mostly. So here we are in 2024 with the basic form and shape showing for the garden. There's also the curvature for the concrete mowing strip, which needed some further massaging to allow the formwork to have a nice time later. The formwork, here it is. This is 6mm MDF sheeting, which is kinda cheap, and it needs to be, as it's a one-shot wonder for this project, as are the spaces I'm using here. They'll end up encapsulated in concrete for the rest of their days. So we got prepping for the mowing strip formwork with the old shovel and laser level trick. This way we can make the level between the two endpoints consistent from A to B. In goes the formwork, making sure it's supported at appropriate intervals so it can keep its level and curvature, so it's a beautiful thing. Looking up near the wall, I'm unsure whether we can get the formwork to follow that last little bit, as it's a complex curve, but we managed in the end because we're highly skilled amateur hour dudes. And we know how to use a hammer when we need to. Check out those safety shoes. Whoop, boys got the tape measure out. No worries, mate. Bit of on-the-job massaging. This mowing strip task was no match for us. We got it into shape double quick, including stake supports, compacted base and steel reinforcing ready for the coloured concrete. But wait, how are we going to do the concreting? Cue the drum roll. Jeffy's tractor, and his concrete mixer, and his ride-on, and his tarpaulin, and his power tools. Oh, starting to feel guilty now. Don't worry, that feeling won't last too long. Anyway, look at this mowing strip. What a work of art. Looks pretty good. Pity it's only going to last one shot here. Only needs to work once though. As long as it holds the concrete in there, we're all good, mate. Okay, we've poured the concrete. Sorry we didn't actually have any action shots of that stuff. But suffice to say we put some black colouring in it. Just because we can. So we can see the spaces trapped inside the concrete of the mowing strip after pulling away the formwork. These spaces need to be covered up in a half decent manner, so the solution is sand and cement rendering plaster. It also has the same concrete colouring added for consistency. Plaster on initially with a trowel and then sponged. Finished. I repeated this process 2 times, so there's a couple of layers of plaster on the mowing strip. And voila! Made in Italy. Made in the Waikato, New Zealand. A little bit blotchy, it'll come out in the wash. So the next step is a reconnaissance mission to the Hinuera Stone Quarry State Highway 29 near Matamata. And look at the size of that digger and saw blade. It's a man standing there next to it, doing a bit of maintenance. Of course with his PPE on, his hard hat, high vis and safety boots. Just like me. It's okay, it's a sunny day, no risk of lightning. Here's the initial result after the 12-foot diameter saw blade has been through the rock that I selected. Now I have 3 nice large sawtooth shaped pieces of stone ready for transport home, except me, 2 of the cuts were not clean, so I've ended up with 5 pieces of stone and the realization I'm in for some repair work later on. Each piece of stone is approximately 2.3 meters long and around 1400 kg per item, so unfortunately for me that means multiple return trips to get them safely home. So unloading the stones at my house was relatively straightforward thanks to Jeff's tractor, his experienced driving skills and our combined load rigging skills. Of course we are actually serious and cautious with moving such heavy items, as one false move and you're potentially off to meet your maker, and someone's spouse is in for a life insurance payout. But barring any unforeseen issues, what we're trying to do is just get the load balanced and then the rocks placed onto pallets on the driveway to allow for easier handling later on in the next stages of the project. So project management is planning and some doing. What's happening here is that I've taken a paper template of each base of each Hinuera stone to allow the visualization of the optimum spacings between each rock. Oh my god, that's some architectural lingo right there. But what I'm trying to avoid is a mistake, as the central positioning and the angling of each Hinuera Stone rock within the rock garden is crucial to the success of the overall project. So I'm thinking, should I do it here or shall I move it a bit? Should I do it here or shall I move it a bit? I'm making a decision. Oh, he's cut it. The weed mat's been cut and the hole to China begins. So where would you be without your gumboots and Jeff's tractor? In this shot you'll see that I've also been busy sourcing the covering rocks for the raised garden part of the space and some minimalist planting which fits into the vision for this project. Oh, anyone got a large item they need to get rid of? Nudge nudge wink wink, there's some concrete coming, I'll never find it. So I used this length of 20mm rigid conduit, which was marked with the average finished height of each of the Hinuera stones so that I could again visualise how the finished placed stones would look. The foundation hole has been dug out, the base compacted and the reinforcing is all in place sitting on chairs ready for the concrete. I didn't want a 20-ton concrete truck driving on my domestic driveway, so I'm creating this shortcut through the hedge for the chute of the truck. That way he can deliver his creamy load through the narrow passage into the hole. So the truck dumped his load, came and went, and we ended up with the desired 300mm of concrete at the bottom of the hole to form the basis of the footing for the stones along with the reinforcing contained within. We then trailed it off and left it for a week to cure. More visualization just to make sure we're still on track. Right, into repair mode process A. I need to complete the first stage of the repair process at this point in time. That is to match up the broken respective peaks to their main bodies so that they can be pinned and glued when they need to be after the main stone bodies are resting in their final positions on the main footing. So I temporarily set up and packed, shimmed each peak and trimmed away until I was happy and as close as I could be to making the stone look whole again. Lifting and placing each stone onto the main footing was a bridge too far even for Jeffy's tractor, so I was forced into hiring this rear truck mounted Powfinger from my local building supply depot. With the lifting capability data statement plate displaying good for 2000 kgs at a 10 metre distance from its pivot, that'll do it. Yay! $150 now. We can get this done as quickly and safely as possible. So the basic strategy here is just to get the 3 stones onto the main footing as close as possible to each desired designated location and then pack them as required with small lengths of industrial grade box section steel and the like to hopefully achieve the required vertical nature for each stone. Oh yeah, and to come out of the exercise still breathing and being able to count to 20 using my fingers and toes. As we say here in New Zealand, they are all on the piss initially, as the rocks were difficult to position due to their irregular shape related to the overall mass. But with patience and care, and my beady eye on the clock always, my constant vigilance for health and safety, I managed to sober them up enough to look half presentable after 1 hour 45 minutes. Ah well, it makes the next step easier, which is this step. This is the fine tuning step the day before the final concrete pour. I'm trying my best with attention to detail without driving Jeffy silly. We got lefty rock and middly rock 100% FAB, but righty rock with him. We thought he was good to go, but perfectionism reared its ugly head and I ended up tweaking him and beating him into submission early the next morning with the tractor prior to the big ass truck with the big round bowl arriving for the final bedding pour. And here he is, he's got his chute in that tight passage again, delivering his load. So now after some effort, lefty rock, middly rock and righty rock all look like I brought one, mate. Well, I think they do. And they'll need to be. That was 1.5 cubic meters of concrete being placed there, with the final finished level 300mm down to allow a backfill of topsoil to support future vegetation. I'd like to grow a creeper around here one day. Further attention to detail there with plastic covering the Hinuera stone while the concrete was being placed. And there they are taking their space up in the garden, minding their own business. But wait, lefty rock, righty rock, you still have a problem, boys. Don't worry, we have the technology. This stuff is a general purpose fast setting marine grade polyester and is certified for anchoring threaded rod and bar into concrete. We're going to pin lefty rock and righty rock's peaks to their respective bodies with D12 rebar pins and use this ultra fix product to restore their dignity and make them look kosher. We also used white Portland cement and mixed it with coarse samples of baked Hinuera stone. That way we can attempt to match the natural hue of lefty and righty across the evident cracks where their peaks meet their bodies. There's a brown, gold-like natural crust on one edge each of lefty, middly and righty rocks which has been damaged in places back at the quarry. We address this by using a sponge technique to apply and dab specific brown and gold paint colours to mimic nature and camouflage the damage. So here they are, fully whole, sitting secure on their foundations. The remainder of the ground cover tasks are paused to allow the next logical stage of the project, which is lighting and automation installation. I've been using these Shelly Wi-Fi controlled devices for several years now, and they are a relatively cheap, reliable and easy to use home automation solution. How convenient. So we have AC input, DC output, LED controllers, DC distribution, Shelly 1, Shelly 2, mains out for lighting power packs. So I needed to wire and test as much of the lighting control installation as possible prior to placing everything outside in the wild, as it's winter time outside and prone to bad weather. Huh, the lights are working. Must have done something right. Power supply here is very temporary, just checking the flexible conduit runs are good in terms of length and allow for suitable LED light placement in front of lefty, middly and righty rocks. So the installation's progressing nicely. We're using Denso tape there, petroleum impregnated tape, very good for waterproofing. So Midley Rock has this kind of interesting feature, which is a remnants of the way the quarry guys cut the rock. So because it's different to lefty and righty, I thought I'd add a bit more. Place some small button LED lights just for the look. So what we see here are the receptacle holes for the spring-loaded push-in LEDs. This stone is very porous and prone to staining over time and must be sealed to protect its good looks over time. This particular brand was sourced from the quarry and is a water-based product. I'm an expert squinter and I can hold my breath for ages. The 5-button LED LEDs that will be installed in Midley Rock require a low voltage cable reticulation system. It's a little ugly, but it is on the rear of Midley, and I do plan to grow a creeper over the rocks in time. And just because I can, I'm going to install these Govee curtain lights. They're made in America. They are effectively multiple strings of addressable LED lights that can be easily set up using an app and Bluetooth connectivity. It's a little tacky, but they do have a finite life and I can just pull them down when they stop working. And I really only just turn them on for shits and giggles. In a similar vein to that of the 3 LED uplights, I temporarily set up the curtain lights inside so I could test them prior to taking them out into the wild. One kind of cool feature with these that I implemented is noise activation. So the curtain lights require a frame of sorts to allow them to be supported behind lefty, middly and righty rocks. I ended up using 10mm aluminium pipe which was drilled and glued into the rear of the stones. We then fixed heavy gauge fishing braid between the pipe jig to allow support of the curtain lighting. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much. Please like and subscribe, and feel free to place any comments you may have regarding this project below. As a supplementary note to this video, looking at dates and timestamps for videos and photos used to present this project, dates range between November 2019 and May 2024, meaning this project had an approximate duration from start to finish of around 4 years and 5 months. Not a bad procrastinating effort if I say so myself. Of course, Jeffy and I are always doing some type of project somewhere in one form or another, and the important thing is to actually finish and complete the job well. Thanks for watching.